Hello, welcome to Tony's Bonsai. I just can't help myself. Look at this that I've just found. Beautiful, beautiful yew. Gorgeous trunk on it. 30 quid. I'm back home and it's a couple of days later. And it's a bit of a beauty. Very happy with this tree. But it's not an easy one to style. So I'll show you what I've done so far. I made myself a cup of coffee and I spent about an hour last night just going through all of this, clearing out lots of the little bits of twigs that were, little dead branches, so that I could see the structure and make some decisions on what to do with it. I also discovered a bit of an issue down at the bottom. I tried to take a look to see if there was any sort of root base happening. There are a few nice roots just coming out in this direction, but as I started scraping, we've got some material. It's mixed in with the roots, and I think it's probably been grown in some kind of cloth bag and transplanted into this bucket. That's going to be difficult to get out, but I'll have to do that at some point, but definitely not now. I'll come back down to these branches down here in a moment because I need to make a decision on whether these stay or go. But I've also got another decision to make higher up the tree. It's not easy to see, but up here is my quandary. We've got a lovely thick trunk that comes up and then it splits into two. There's quite a thick branch here that comes off the thicker section. And the question is, do I remove one of these larger trunks or do I keep it as a twin trunk? And I'm kind of unsure. I think what I need to do is remove some of them and begin to get a feel for what's happening with the tree. If I rotate it round through 180 degrees, we can see from this side here the two trunks as they split there, and there is a nice branch, and I definitely won't want it any higher than this, so I can cut this thinner trunk off just above there. Apparently you can air layer yew, and I may consider doing that to this tree on the thicker trunk, but this thinner one can just come off here to start with, about there. Wow, that's a tough one. Whoa! Wow. I'll not be using my secateurs on the thick trunk, I know that. There. So it wasn't actually that much of the tree that's come off there. I anticipate that this will be cut off just above this thick branch here, and that'll kind of become the new top of this section of the tree. So I don't think I'll want this bit up here, but that'll be handy as leverage because I'm thinking of spreading these apart using a wedge in there, just because they're a bit tight, and if they were spread apart like that, I think it'd look a lot better. I've just made myself a little triangular piece of wood. I got it just off the log pile that was going to burn. I've planed the edges smooth with the idea that that can go in like that. So let's try and get that into the tree. This is one of those jobs where a second pair of hands would be very useful. And thinking about it, I should have left the top on before I pruned it, and that would have given me more leverage. However, that's gone. No point crying over spilt milk. Once I can get this in there like this, somehow. Right, let's try and use my fingers and thumbs like that. There we go. There. At least we're in now at the beginning. So we've got it in. Now I just need to get it further down, and hopefully as I pull these apart that'll just kind of drop. That would be great if that happened. So there's always the danger of completely tearing this section of the trunk off, but that's a gamble I'm willing to take because this is going to make it a much better tree if I can spread these. There we go. Let's have a look. How far down am I there? Right. Not bad. That's pretty good. I like the angle that I've cut on the wood as well. That's about bob on. I could just, ideally, just take that down just a bit further. If I could get that another 5mm down, that would be perfect. Let's have a go. Try and support it with this thumb as I just pull. There we go. Go on. Go on. There we go. Down she goes. Is that right in the gap? Ooh, not bad. Has it cracked a little in there? That might have just cracked a bit. Has it? There might be a little crack there. That's okay. I can live with that. Let's see if there's a crack on the other side as I turn it round. Now you can't see any crack on this side because I think there is a little crack there as well, but not much. Not much. I think that'll heal up. And that extra gap in those trees, in those branches, it makes a massive difference. I think what I will do is I'll just bring that piece of wood up just a couple of millimetres to let that crack just join up a bit. I've probably just pushed it a little bit too far. So if I can just ease off like that, I'll let that go together. I can put some cut paste on that and that'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure. The next big job is to cut some of this trunk down. I'm torn, do I do an air layer or not? I could air layer off all that top section and it'd be a really big straight sort of formal upright. You know, it would be quite nice. But it'll delay the whole process of me styling this tree. And I've got a few yews and I've got better stuff than that. So on this occasion, I'm not going to bother with the air layer. I'm just going to cut it off. If this is roughly the front, we do have a nice branch up here coming straight at us, which would be a good sort of top of the tree. So I'm going to cut just above that. No doubt that would have actually been a really nice tree had I air layered it. However, you can't air layer everything, you know, I'd just be waiting another year. So let's take a look and see where we are with this tree now. I counted the rings and there appears to be 6 there, so I'm happy with that being the top of the tree, coming into almost a kind of clump style at the top. This one though is definitely too high. I don't want the small trunk higher than the main trunk, and the plan was always to bring this down here anyway, so this can be cut off down to this branch. Because I found it so challenging even to cut a branch that thick with my secateurs, I'm going to go in and cut this with my saw. There we go. What I want to do is, we've got this kind of peak up here. Nothing's going to grow from that, and I'd rather that be tapered down so that it kind of joins these up. So my idea now is to just nibble this away. So I'm just nibbling away, taking it down. Whether this will callus over eventually, I don't know. Most people dealing with yew, they end up... I'm going to take this little branch here off. I don't need it. Most people working with yew tend to do a lot of carving. And I've got a really nice collected tree that I need to do some serious carving on. Possibly this year. But this tree, I want this to look more like the kind of trees you see in a graveyard. So not too fantasy-like, if you know what I mean. some of that carving, this is just my personal opinion, but it can go a little bit too fantasy for me. You know, when it looks like a tree off Harry Potter, that's not my cup of tea. To be fair, Harry Potter's not my cup of tea either. Never watched one. This is the point now where I like to go in with my knife and really smooth off this surface. Then it has the best chance of callousing over. So you need a sharp knife to do this. This one that I made for myself is working brilliantly for these kinds of jobs. Couldn't be happier with it. I'm back down at the base of the tree now, and I like these low branches, you know, I do quite enjoy them coming up, but I think this very lowest one here is just too much. It's too low, it's basically in the soil, and I think this is one that has to be removed. Get my secateurs on this, I think. I'll just prune it back roughly first, like that, to give me access to get in there. There we go. It's just nibbling its way through, which is fine. The main thing is I wanted to get that nice and tight in. I want this to have the opportunity to really heal up well. And it kind of comes out, so I need to get that right back. There we go. There we go. That's back. That's better. There we go. We're back round to the front now, and it's the point where I need to look and say, are there any branches that I really don't want in here? And there is one. This one here that kind of cuts across this larger back branch. I just don't like it. Although it's a thin branch, and often we keep the thin ones, on this tree I want this thick powerful branch coming out because that's a bit more natural. I could gin this, but I don't want to. I'd rather just get rid of it, just to clean the lines up. If I turned it into a gin, it'd still be the same problem. It'd be spoiling the view of that branch, which I want. I've got one in here. I'm not sure about that one either. This could potentially come off. It's kind of in the front view. That's presuming this is the front. You know, there is always the option that the front's around this side, but I don't think so. I think the front's here. I like it here with all these branches kind of coming towards us, but this one spoils the line of the centre. So again, this thinner branch here can be removed. So I'll get in there. Nice tight cut, clean one. Oh, I'm beginning to see the structure now. Love these low branches down here, and it works its way up. That top might still be a bit confused. Let's take a look up there. We have a lot of branches up at this top, too many. I like this first branch that comes out towards us. I think that looks good. And obviously we've got this one at the top, which hopefully is kind of it's the apex of the tree, even though I'm not planning on, you know, thickening it up too much. But we've got one in between, and that in between one there, I don't see that having a future. I can best access it from round here, I think. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to get to, but I can't get to it. How can I get to that? Oh yeah, left-handed. Left-handed up through here, and then, oh yeah, nice and tight in. There we go, lovely. That's gone. We've got two branches here quite close to each other. This back branch was one of the three that I cut down to. But looking at it from here, I think I prefer this bottom branch because there's a nicer gap then between this up to the top one. If I remove this one, these two are quite close together. So I'm going to get rid of that top one. Off she goes. From around here you can now see the branch, the spot where I just removed that branch, which is here. I just want to take a little bit more off so there's no big lump in the way. And this kind of comes into this now. So I'm thinking perhaps I can turn all of this into one larger wound, which when it heals will look a bit more natural. And if it doesn't heal, this is the beginning of a deadwood feature. Win-win. It's very hard wood, this. Very hard wood. It's not bad if I'm in a good position like that to carve, but when I don't have the right position, it's challenging. I'm very happy with the work that I've done on the top of this tree. You might just notice there's a bit of wire I've just applied up here because the bark was just a bit damaged at the base of this branch, so I wrapped it in wire and then I'll just load that area up with a load of cut paste. That'll heal over, no problem. And the rest of it, I'll give a nice coat of cut paste just to seal it all in. I'll leave the tree indoors until tomorrow to let this really dry. If it gets in the rain, the stuff I use, it's not the best. So I'll leave it indoors for a bit. And hopefully over the next several years, I mean it might take 5 years for this to callus over, but it'd be nice if it did, rather than having that deadwood. But nature will make that decision, not me. It's so tempting to go in now and start hacking all these branches down and bringing all this growth in to make it look much more like a bonsai tree. But as you'll know, it's generally not my style. After exerting this kind of stress onto a tree, 2 major chops, big branches removed, what I like to do is just leave it with lots of foliage, let it recover. I've just been in with the cut paste, covered the big wound at the bottom, and where I think the 2 trunks cracked, I've been in and filled all that crack with cut paste as well. So that just needs to sit there now, in my eyes, for a while, just to recover. I see the final design of this as a sort of canopy, perhaps there and there like that. I think that'll look really good, like quite a wide, low tree with all these upward branches. I think that could look really special. If you want to follow the progress of this tree, you know what to do. I'm going to be continually working on this now for the next few years, giving you updates on how it gets on along with the rest of my trees. That's me for today. As always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.